The angel named Gabriel is a very cute angel, and today is the day she graduates from the Angel Academy. Gabriel is a rare genius, so the principal has very high expectations for her. After graduation, the angels will be sent down to earth to continue learning and understand humans. Then they will return to heaven to bless mankind. On the day of parting from the Angel Academy, the younger student, Dapris, was very emotional because she was about to part with Gabriel. Meanwhile, her white-haired friend, GFI, was very happy because she was assigned to the same school on Earth with her. Once they descended, Gabriel immediately started working hard. In the afternoon, she went to the park, pulled weeds and played with the kids. At night, she diligently did her homework. Suddenly, she heard a cry for help, coming from an online game. Curious, she opened the game and chose to play as a mage healing. Gabriel quickly helped everyone and was hailed as an angel. She was happy that by playing the game, she was able to help others, but then her character ran out of mana, and at that moment, an ad appeared on the screen for the Holy Angel's staff. It could heal endlessly without using mana, but it cost 1,500 yen. Though Gabriel had just enough for basic living from the heavenly realm, upon hearing the cries of other players, she couldn't resist and clicked to buy the staff. From that moment on, became a fallen angel without realizing it. She spent all her time playing the game and ignoring the world, so much so that every morning, her demon friend Vang had to come and cut the internet cable to make her go to class. But Gabriel only cared about the game world, the kingdom of Valhalla being attacked by monsters, and she declared she would never return to heaven, because through this game, she had found her true self, and just reminded her to be careful not to be forcibly recalled by heaven. Gabriel then decided to go to class to avoid Vin's nagging. She planned to use angelic teleportation to teleport quickly to school, but after being out of practice for too long, she only managed to teleport her underwear to class, which embarrassed her, so she decided to stay home. In the evening, Ving returned home, thinking she might use the underwear to take role for her. At Gabriel's school, there is a demon named Satani, always dreaming of being the future demon king. She always tries to do evil things, like throwing plastic bottles without sorting the caps, and thinking that was really wicked. But Satani didn't realize there was an angel even worse than her, making it spill all over the floor, who threw a can. And that was no one else but Gabriel. Seeing this, Satani dragged her over to remind her. But Satani lost at rock, paper, scissors, so she had to clean up. So Satani thought of a way to get revenge, such as pulling her chair to make her fall. But she thought that was too trivial a crime, and decided not to do it. Later, Satani realized the toilet paper was out, and screamed loudly, not knowing which mortal dared to use all her toilet paper. At class, Vang was showing Gabriel how to do the homework. Suddenly Satani appeared and said, someone like her would never do homework. But the two girls ignored her, and told Satani to shut up. During the class, Satani confidently challenged the teacher, and as a result, she was punished with detention for not doing her homework. The next day, when Gabriel was deep in sleep, Ving came to knock on her door. It turned out they had planned to go shopping at 10 o'clock. But Gabriel had overslept, making Vang furious. Gabriel apologized, saying she was cleaning her room. Vang then softened and decided to help her clean. Because Gabriel's room looked like hell, Ving said Gabriel didn't look like an angel at all. Gabriel then showed her magic circle, but it was completely blackened. Gabriel was quite pleased with this, thinking she had the talent to become a fallen angel, and jokingly told Vang she didn't look like a demon at all. Vang asked her how to look more like a demon. Gabriel suggested either hurting someone or asking Satani. Just then, Vang noticed cockroaches in Gabriel's room, and they both froze in fear. In the panic, Vang blew away both the room and the cockroach. One day, GFI was heading to school when she saw Satani fighting over bread with a dog. She immediately found it interesting and wanted to make Satani her toy. Since she had been bored since coming to Earth, GFI approached and asked her. Satani claimed she was the great demon. She is training a dog. GFI said, to do that, she needed to speak dog language, so Satani barked in real dog language, making GFI even more amused. When she couldn't bark enough, Satani gave up, but GFI mocked her, saying that a defeated demon was truly humiliating. So Satani got fired up and went to fight the dog. In the end, she lost the bread. When she got to class, Satani was shocked. Turns out Rafi is Gabriel's friend and sits in the class next door. The girl said there's no such thing as an angel like that. Heaven really does have problems. Just release this girl here. But Vang thought GFI was cute and wanted to be friends. But the white-haired girl pulled out a melon bun and said, "If Satani wants it, then lick her feet like a dog." Vang was left speechless when she saw that. Today, Vi decided to invite Gabriel to the canteen for lunch. But the angel didn't want to go to crowded places. Too noisy, annoying people everywhere. But if Vang pays, then she go. Because she's broke after spending all her money on a game. Now she's got only 1 cent left in her pocket. Not knowing what to say anymore, she planned to invite Satani as well. But recently, she didn't know why. Every lunch hour, Satani always disappears. Curious, the two followed her to see why. Turns out Satani was sitting alone outside on the stairs eating. When she saw Gabriel and Vang coming, she was startled and dropped rice balls on the floor, feeling confident because she still had a melon bun. But then that dog from the other day appeared and stole it. Vang tried to comfort Satani, but she thought she was being teased, so Satani made a tough face and said she didn't want to sit with those lowly humans. Seeing her babbling so much, Gabriel dragged Vang away. Knowing that those two just wanted to invite her to eat, Satani ran after them to join them at the canteen. Satani went straight to the vending machine to buy 3 servings of udon for everyone. When they sat down, Satani revealed that she didn't know how to use chopsticks. Vang showed her how to separate them, but she just snapped them in half. When Satani stared at the chili powder, Gabriel tricked her by saying, "If you sprinkle it 7 times, it will taste great," thinking Satani would scream from the spice. But instead, she said the noodles were very good. Not only that, Satani even thoughtfully added some to Gabriel's noodles. This shocked the angel girl. Today, Gabriel's class had a career survey, but she was the only one who hadn't submitted the survey. So Vang had to help her fill it out. Vang wrote in the section about her desire to do what she likes. So she said, Gabriel could write that she wants to save humanity, or something like that. Her classmate Michiko nearby overheard and thought the blonde girl wanted to be a doctor. But in the end, Gabriel wrote on the survey that she just wants to live without doing anything. The next day, there was a class on homemaking. Vang was grouped with Gabriel and Satani. Gabriel was assigned to bring tofu and seaweed, but she brought carrots and potatoes instead. It turned out that yesterday, at the supermarket, she suddenly craved curry, so she bought curry ingredients. As for Satani, she went all out. She brought a huge, ugly fish. It looked like it had just been pulled out from the depths of hell. Then she clumsily let it jump and smack her in the face. It almost knocked her out. While Vang was teaching Satani how to cut onions, Gabriel took the vegetables out to play with them. Bored, she started frying the fish without asking anyone. This made Vang so mad that she slapped her, knocking her down. After all their efforts, the 3 girls finally finished the dish. But it looked like a hellish curse. But for some reason, Satani kept eating it and praised it as delicious. The next morning, when she woke up, Satani was shocked and nearly fainted when she saw Gabriel lying right next to her. Turns out, last night, she had sneaked through Satani's window and snuck in like a creep. She said she wanted to get closer to Satani. Satani, feeling threatened, tried to kick her out. But the angel girl said she wanted to be her disciple. When Satani heard that, she couldn't help but feel pleased. She demanded Gabriel go make breakfast for her. But Gabriel said she was tired and didn't want to go. With her smooth talking, Gabriel convinced Satani to go buy breakfast for her instead. Then, she demanded to sleep next to her that night. This left Satani speechless and fired her as a disciple. She ran out of money from playing games, so she took a part-time job. So, Gabriel decided to take a part-time job at a coffee shop. But her attitude remained careless, which made the boss panic. When customers came in, she greeted them like it was a market. When customers ordered, she even got the order wrong, causing the boss to come out and double-check. Vang admires Gabriel because she is both smart and good at sports. Vang admired Gabriel because she was both smart and athletic. Vang really looked up to her. Gabriel said that she ranked second in the graduation exam at the Angel Academy. So, nothing surprising, Vang felt confused because she had no idea what the Angel Academy was. And how could the valedictorian be addicted to games? While the runner-up was like a freak, that afternoon, Vang invited GFI to go sit at a cafe to get to know each other better. After chatting for a while, they discovered they both liked watching movies. But GFI had a very odd hobby. She liked to sit and compare the differences between the dialogue and the subtitles. Veng said that one day, when she was home alone, she accidentally found a horror movie on television, and it scared her so much she almost peed her pants. This made GFI burst out laughing because Veng was a demon, yet she was afraid of horror movies. Suddenly, GFI said she had recently discovered something very dangerous. That was, if you leave stuff in the washing machine too long, it gets really smelly. Veng agreed and said that the first time that happened to her, she almost fainted. While they were talking, Veng suddenly saw Satani. And when she turned around, GFI was already gone. Turns out she had run out to drag Satani in to sit with them for fun. A few days ago, Satani had gathered all her courage to enter a place called a cafe. And when she opened the door and stepped in, she bumped into Gabriel. Before she could say anything, the angel girl covered her mouth and punched her. When Satani found out Gabriel worked here, she smirked, thinking she was about to be served by an angel. But Gabriel's attitude was so bad, it made the boss want to die. One hot day, Gabriel's air conditioning broke down, and her room was full of trash, so flies were buzzing everywhere, biting her and making her skin all red. Just as she was about to lose it, Satani rang her doorbell over and over. Gabriel kicked the door down and kicked out the evil girl. Unable to bear the heat, Gabriel decided to move to Vin's room for a while. She also decided to have a free meal and sleep over. She didn't care about Satani, who was lying unconscious outside in the hallway. With summer vacation approaching, Veng invited everyone to the beach. GFI was really excited, but Gabriel was as indifferent as ever. Satani, sitting nearby, also wanted to go, but she didn't want to beg the angels. So, she decided to act busy all summer, like a true demon. But when she opened her schedule, she had no plans at all. So Satani hinted to her friends that she would be free this summer. Gabriel saw through this and knew she wanted to go but couldn't admit it, so GFI walked over, arrogantly declaring that he wanted to go to the beach, then left, leaving Satani sitting there motionless without saying anything. When Gabriel walked over, she rubbed salt in Satani's wounds, saying she would go instead of Satani. Seeing Satani almost cry, Veng decided to be direct and invited Satani to go to the beach with the group. Though happy to be invited, Satani still tried to act superior. When the group got on the boat to the beach, it started pouring rain. Gabriel was happy because she didn't want to go to crowded places anyway. Satani was sad and almost cried because it was her only chance to hang out with her friends. Seeing this, GFI made a phone call to someone, and as soon as she hung up, the clouds cleared up and the sun came back. Gabriel got mad because she knew it was GFI who made it happen with her connections in heaven. When they arrived at the beach, Veng and Satani were thrilled because the beach was so different from hell. There, all they saw were scary monsters. Meanwhile, Gabriel took out her laptop to play games and said she wouldn't leave the shade. To get Gabriel to join them, GFI suggested they play watermelon smashing. The angel buried Satani in the sand to use her as the watermelon. Gabriel gleefully took the bat and demanded to play first. GFI mischievously blindfolded Gabriel but cheated, so she hit Satani every time without missing. After the outing, the group gathered at Vin's house to do homework. Satani curiously asked how Veng met Gabriel. Veng, the demon, told the story that she had just come to the human world and was looking for a place to stay. While lost, she bumped into Gabriel, the kind version of her. The angel led her to find a place to stay, and after that, they became friends. Satani couldn't believe her eyes that this was Gabriel. GFI explained that back in heaven, Gabriel was a famous, kind, and smart angel. Not only that, but Veng added that Gabriel was the one who suggested becoming friends with her. This made Satani even more confused. Satani then demanded to know how Gabriel became like this. GFI explained how Gabriel had gone astray. Satani promised to do all her homework in exchange for the story. One day, someone wearing a full astronaut suit appeared. It turns out she's an angel girl. Tapers came down to find Gabriel, but because she's afraid of the human world, she dressed like this. Gabriel was leaving class to buy a drink, and then she encountered a girl wearing a gas mask. Seeing the girl asking for directions to the freshman area, Gabriel thought she was a new student. So the girl spread her hand asking for some change to buy a drink. This girl is Tapris, and she realized that the person in front of her was Gabriel. Sempai. The girl even thought this was a bullying. A person who can be called a thug. Meeting Giafai, Tapris was overjoyed. She took off the mask and said she was looking for Gabriel. But on the way, she encountered a thug trying to rob her. At this point, Giafai laughed and said, "The person in front of Tapris is none other than Gabriel." Hearing this, the angel girl couldn't believe her eyes. Gabriel said her previous image was fake. Making Tapris feel heartbroken, the girl was determined to find the cause. That caused Senpai to change, so she went to find Giafai. And this angel girl said that, the one who made Gabriel fall from grace. To settle the win or loss, the two girls challenged each other to a game. But due to her naivety, Tapris lost the game and ran away crying, making Satani extremely pleased. As for Giafai, from the beginning to the end, she was quietly standing outside enjoying the drama, while crying and running away in disgrace after losing the game. Tapris ran into Veng. She thought this was another bully. So the girl made an excuse to leave, seeing that the girl seemed lost. Veng offered to lead Tapris out of there, so the angel girl gradually felt that this woman was kind-hearted, not a thug. When they reached the gate, they encountered Gabriel, and she told Tapris that Veng was a demon, making the girl feel completely confused, thinking that the so-called demon lady had just been pretending to be nice to her. So Tapris jumped aside to avoid Veng, and then Gabriel added that Veng even had a grip on the devil, making Tapris completely terrified, because Tapris had no place to stay. Gabriel had to let her stay with her for a night. One night, feeling happy, because she was staying in the same room as Gabriel Senka. The girl was suddenly shocked to find the room full of trash. All this trash made Tapris despise. Satani has ruined the person she admires and respects. Determined to bring back the old Gabriel, Tapris rolled up her sleeves to clean the room, but Gabriel said one thing: "If you want me to change, then you should walk away." Because everything Tapris is doing and planning, Veng has already tried. The next morning, when Tapris woke up, she saw Gabriel still asleep. Her stomach growling, the girl quietly was going to leave when she saw something labeled a gift for Tapris, feeling happy. Because Senpai still cared for her, the paper fell and it turned out to be a bag of trash. The girl hugged it and asked Gabriel, and received the answer that she wanted Tapris to conveniently take it out for disposal. Every day, Satani always tried to prank Gabriel, but all her attempts ended in failure, so the girl went to Gabriel's house to demand a duel. Of course, Gabriel thought this girl was so annoying, and stayed lying down playing games. Suddenly, Giafai appeared from nowhere, and offered to be the referee for their duel. She suggested the two settle things with a game of Suzy. And indeed, Satani didn't know how to play, so the result was she lost miserably. Although Gabriel also played by the rules she created herself, the next day there was an art class, and Satani was paired up with Michiko, so the class president had to stand as the model for the evil girl to draw. Seeing that Satani seemed bored, Michiko tried everything to inspire her friend, but Satani insisted on drawing a nude portrait. So the class president suggested using a bust sculpture as a model. And the evil girl thought, if she combined the class president's head with this body, it would be interesting. Seeing how inappropriate it was, Michiko, color mixing brush, mixed some colors and posed like a swordsman for Satani to draw. But seeing her friend still disheartened, she decided to take her clothes off. Veng walked in. Seeing this, she rushed to stop her, and while the two were struggling, Satani suddenly exclaimed, "This is the pose she needs." And the result of the drawing was this. Time passes quickly. Halloween came, so the group invited Gabriel to join them for trick-or-treating. But she just threw a packet of chestnuts and went back to sleep. Seeing this, Veng begged Gabriel to join them, and even prepared an outfit for her. Seeing this, Gabriel said, "I already have my angel costume ready." But Veng insisted that it wasn't really a costume, because she herself is an angel. This won't do, so Veng pushed Gabriel down, and asked Giafai to help her get Gabriel into a costume. And it turned out that the outfit Veng brought was a cute animal costume. It looked extremely adorable. Afterward, Satani led the group to the teacher's house for trick-or-treating. The other girls didn't understand how, usually, the teacher would punish them. But Satani still wasn't scared. The truth was, Satani planned to come here to prank the teacher legally, without being punished, but Satani didn't expect that. The teacher has prepared candy for everyone, including her favorite steamed buns. But before she could get them, the dog from earlier suddenly appeared and ran off. A few days later, Vin's allowance from hell was suddenly reduced. So she went to complain to GFI. GFI thought that it might be because Veng wasn't doing her job as a demon properly, so her allowance was reduced. She suggested that Veng try living like a demon. So Veng decided to try living like one and see what happens. Veng went to the cafe where Gabriel worked part-time. To think, seeing that she looked sad, the owner came to ask her. When he found out Veng wanted to do something bad, he thought she was planning to become a thug. Afterward, the owner advised her that she could do something bad by skipping class, but still sitting in the classroom, that is, sit for the whole period, without writing or listening to anything. But even after completing that challenge, her allowance still didn't increase. A few days later, Ving suddenly got sick, so she had to take a sick day off after school. Satani and GFI came to visit her, thinking that her friends were here to care for her. But in reality, they came to play pranks, so the two of them were immediately kicked out of the room by Veng. By the afternoon, when she woke up, Veng was startled to find Gabriel in her room. She thought the girl came to visit her, but it turned out she was just bringing homework, and also offered to do Vin's work for her, but at least Gabriel brought some food, because she knew Veng couldn't leave the house. One morning, GFI suddenly realized that the bra she had just bought that day was too tight. But not wanting to believe she gained weight, she still tried to wear it to school. When she got to class, GFI saw Veng trying hard to pull Gabriel out of the class. After asking, she found out there was a physical fitness test. Since Gabriel was lazy, Veng had to tempt her by promising to treat her to grilled meat. And when Gabriel thought of the sizzling, juicy meat, she agreed to take the fitness test. The first test was endurance. Satani, though usually spaced out, was very strong in physical activities. Gabriel, on the other hand, struggled just to drag herself to the finish line. GFI, afraid her bra might break, didn't dare run fast. In the following test, Satani continued to top the leaderboard. Gabriel, however, only stayed if Veng kept reminding her about the grilled meat. When it came to the final speed test, Satani was confident she would win. But when she saw the smug look on Satani's face, GFI got fired up and challenged her to a showdown. As they lined up for the race, GFI only prayed that her bra wouldn't break. Satani, being a tough opponent, ran with all her might. At the final stretch, it seemed like Satani had won. But GFI's bra suddenly snapped, and she panicked, sprinting to the finish. She didn't even realize when she crossed the line. In the afternoon, it suddenly started raining. And since Satani forgot to bring an umbrella, GFI offered to walk with her. But Satani knew this girl too well, and suspected she had some trick up her sleeve. So, with no other choice, Satani decided to go along, but stayed on high alert. After a while, the rain stopped. After a while it stopped raining, and Satani caught a frog. Look away, the other girl 10 meters ago. She knew that this girl was afraid of frogs. And so, Satani's smile slowly turned sinister. She picked up the frog and chased GFI with it. GFI ran for her life. Soon, it was Christmas. Veng invited everyone over to her place for a party. But when she called Satani, the girl replied, "Today is the birthday of Christ. So this is an opportunity for demons to make humans tremble in fear, to prevent her from ruining the party." Veng and GFI had to use steamed buns to lure her in. Then they used magic to make Satani forget it was Christmas. While Satani was in a daze, GFI convinced her to go change into a costume. When it was done, Veng was shocked to see that GFI had turned Satani into a reindeer. After preparing the food, Veng called Gabriel over. At that moment, GFI accidentally mentioned Christmas, which caused Satani to snap out of her trance and demand to ruin everything. So, to keep the party safe, Veng tied Satani up and threw her aside. When Gabriel arrived, she saw the evil girl tied up like a pig and fighting for food with the dog. A few days later, it was New Year's Eve. So the four girls went to the temple for New Year's prayers. And Satani was determined not to bow to any deities, because she's a demon. Looking over, she saw Gabriel and GFI, radiating a divine aura like gods about to descend. They were strolling around the temple. The group was invited to drink a beverage like wine, called Amazon Can. After one sip, Gabriel suddenly became strange, dancing like a cute little girl, and even turning into an angel and flying. The next day, the public was in an uproar because she appeared on TV. One day, Satani was happily holding a steamed bun when she suddenly sensed something around her. It turned out she was afraid the dog would come and steal it. But GFI suddenly appeared and said the dog had been chained up and taken away. So Satani, in a heroic mood, ran off to rescue the dog. But there was a problem. The dorms didn't allow pets. Satani called her dad for help, but got the response that the great demon had to handle her own problems. So, while everyone was discussing, Satani silently led the dog on a journey to find a new place to live. And the two of them spent the night in the cold snow, but they still couldn't find shelter. Back home, her friends found out she had gone all the way to Hokkaido. It turned out GFI had secretly tracked her through a tracking app on Satani's phone. Before they knew it, a piece of paper suddenly fell on Gabriel's face. After reading it, she quietly walked outside, without saying a word. At that moment, she received a call from the landlord, informing her that she was allowed to keep a dog. Though Satani didn't understand why, she was thrilled. She immediately wanted to make a demon pact with the dog. The next day, Vang and GFI went to a cafe and saw Gabriel working. She seemed confused, wondering why this lazy girl was suddenly so hard-working. The owner explained that Gabriel had asked him for a favor. It turned out the cafe owner was also the landlord of the building where Satani was living, and Gabriel had asked him to allow Satani to keep a dog. In return, she promised to work more hours, since there would be a long holiday soon. Tapers allowed the girl to stay in her room for a few days, and to start getting used to the human world. Tapers sought something called the internet, but the girl didn't know how to use a computer. So the internet cafe manager lent her a computer science book. But after reading it for a while, Tapers still didn't understand. She thought it was even harder than a spell book. But since she wanted to understand Gabriel Senka better, she was determined to learn. That night, when Gabriel asked if she could use a computer, Tapers proudly claimed she had already mastered C, Java, and even PHP. Gabriel thought, is she planning to become a programmer or something? A few days later, Vang hosted a takoyaki party and invited everyone to make takoyaki. But both Gabriel and Tapers were incredibly clumsy, so they ruined it all. In the end, they had to ask Vang for help. It was Tapers' first time eating takoyaki, and she was very excited. Satani arrived late, and by the time she entered, everyone had already finished the first batch. After the party ended, Tapers asked permission to return to heaven. Before leaving, the girl told Gabriel that her sister was coming down to visit. When Gabriel heard this, she was terrified, because her sister was a very scary person, and if she found out about Gabriel's fall from grace, she would punish her severely. According to GFI, Gabriel's sister was known as God's right hand, and she had never feared anyone before. The next day, when Gabriel's sister descended to earth, everyone in the street felt something, but no one could see her. Gabriel's sister had immense magical power. To handle this, Gabriel returned to her gentle appearance, acting sweet as before. She even wore a maid outfit to look cute. But all of that couldn't fool Gabriel's older sister. And the whole story was exposed when little Satani rolled out of the closet with a pile of trash. So Gabriel's sister decided to take her back to heaven to straighten her out. But Gabriel insisted on staying on earth and promised to change. Her sister decided to believe her for once, and indeed, the next day, Gabriel returned to her innocent demeanor from when she first ascended to earth. She even worked so hard that her friends found it strange. So, her 3 friends went to Gabriel's room to coax her back to her true self. Gabriel sets up a soundproof barrier and reveals that it was all a trick to trick her sister. After a few days, her sister returned to heaven, and the whole group was able to go partying at the bar again. But just a few seconds later, Gabriel's sister suddenly returned, and her perfect girl actions could not escape her sister's sharp eyes. Gabriel hugged her friends tightly and confessed that she wanted to stay on Earth and live with her friends, but what kind of friends stomp you down like a dog? Seeing this, Gabriel's sister burst into tears because her little sister had found some truly precious friends. In the end, she agreed to let Gabriel stay on Earth, but only if she would move in with her to keep an eye on her. Gabriel outright refused, arguing that living with her sister was no different than returning to heaven. Just then, Satani's dog ran in and snatched a melon bun from her sister's pocket. Gabriel's sister's expression changed immediately. It turned out that while she was strong, she was terrified of dogs. The dog barked once, and Gabriel's sister fled back to heaven. And so, our angel resumed her wayward life without fear of anyone disturbing her. That's the end of the story. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly videos. Goodbye and see you all next time.